playing in that site. It's very hostile, very hot environment. So you got to find some time to cool yourself off a little bit.
Cedric, you guys have played Alabama a few times over the years. Just what do you know you're getting into as an offensive lineman when you're going to go line up against Alabama?
It's going to be a trench war. Absolutely. It's going to be a trench war. It's going to be a hard fought physical game. You'll win some battles, you'll lose some battles, but I think the biggest thing is just making sure you continue to fight.
Yeah, Cedric, when you think back to fall camp, getting ready for the UT Martin game, has anything surprised you about how Carson has handled this season over the past 3-4 months?
No, sir. I don't think it has. I think Carson has done a tremendous job of just having a process, throughout this season, week by week, getting better. And I think that's the biggest thing that allows him, besides God, that allows him to, I guess, carry himself in the manner that he does is just his preparation throughout the week.
Have you guys viewed this game, set to your left, as a kind of the start of the playoffs?
No, I don't think so. Ultimately, we got to focus on this week, and I think it would be a great honor to be able to represent our conference as the championship winners. So ultimately, right now, we're just focused on trying to be the best we can to try and bring home the SEC championship.
Yes, Ed. Is there a level of familiarity with Alabama, having seen them so many times over the years you've been here, and even though they're not a divisional opponent? And how have you seen them maybe progress, and particularly Jalen Milroe at the corner? Well, you're an offensive player. I don't know why I would ask you that. Defensively, how have you seen them progress over the years? My bad.
Yeah, no, you're good. I mean, definitely we pay attention on both sides of the ball for sure. So, I mean, just to answer that, I think, just to answer your question, I think he's gotten more comfortable in the system just from watching from the outside. Obviously, I don't know him personally or what they do personally, but just from being a spectator, it looks like he's more comfortable in the system, trusting his guys more. And just from the beginning of the season to now, he's playing really, really fluid. But just as far as the familiarity, with Alabama, I think it'll be a little different just for the simple fact they have a different coordinator. But as far as some of the players, I think that's very similar. Very similar guys to guys we have, having played against some of their guys that are there already, Tresman, Tim Smith, some of those guys. So I think there's a level of familiarity. I don't know why that word is so hard to say. I think it's some there just as far as the personnel, but I think some of the scheme may be slightly different.
Cedric, Kirby said, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, he said there's physical exhaustion and there's mental exhaustion. And yet when I see you come in here and I watch you guys take the field, you guys have maintained a really healthy mindset and strong outings. How do you do that? I mean, when we look at what you all have been through, 29 straight wins or 12-0 or every opponent's best game, how do you reset as a team leader? Is it something you say? Is it just something you get conditioned to in this program?
I definitely think you get conditioned to it for sure. You kind of get used to just going. And I think that's the biggest thing is just the repetition of it. I think that throughout the course of a season, of course, we're human. Guys get tired and things like that. But I think that's why it's so important to have that connection with your brother, to have guys that can check you and be like, hey, Sid, today you don't have it. Like, I need you to step it up some. Because that happens, leader, no matter what it is. I know, even coaches, they may not want to say it, but they have days like that as well. So I think it's just having a system of checks and balances to kind of have everybody be able to respectfully be able to, I guess, correct each other.
Alabama's got guys all over their defense, just like Georgia's, but just specifically Dallas Turner. Just what do you think of him, and how do you block a guy like that just as a unit?
Yeah, I think he's a great pass rusher. I want to say we played against him. I want to say he was a freshman the last time we played him. But he was really good then. He was really, really explosive, great athlete, very, very twitchy guy. So I would just say going into the game, as far as just the mindset type of thing, is just accepting the challenge, understanding that he's another great edge that they have, much like Will Anderson, which they had. I remember we played them then. And he was a great edge. So it's just understanding that, they have guys like him that are game changers and can absolutely wreck games if you allow them to. But it's just accepting the challenge and understanding that God has given you some ability as well. So just trust yourself.
Curious to get your thoughts on sort of maybe the maturation of Kendall Milton's run game this year, and the line as well. You guys have had to switch out a lot of pieces all year. Tate, I think y'all had a whole group together, maybe one game, and then Tate goes out. So just the run game and kind of how that's matured as your season's gone on?
That's a great question. I think it just goes back to what Coach Smart preaches to us every week, and that's just understanding that throughout the highs and lows, there's always somewhere to get better. There's always something that can humble you and bring you down to earth. So I think it's just understanding that each week, no matter whether you played well, no matter whether you played bad, there's something to work on. And you have to be mature enough to understand that coming in on a Monday, watching the film, breaking things down, getting it to your next opponent, you have to understand what you did not do well in the previous game to try and fix that throughout the week of practice, to go into the next week and try to be the best version of yourself.
Sedrick, it's championship week, so the normal time rules don't apply. I understand you guys were able to get some work done yesterday. What was different yesterday versus your normal Sunday routine?
That's a great question. I think probably the biggest thing I would just say, just guys' level of focus, their intention on what they were doing. I think usually after a game, of course, I think human nature, you may be tired, sore, whatever it may be, but I think yesterday, I think there was a level of maturity by some of the younger guys and understanding that this is a pretty big game. It's for the SEC, the honor of representing this great conference. So I think there was a level of intention behind some of the guys' actions.
What did you guys do?
I'm not even sure if I can really answer that.
Cedric, how do you feel like you guys played against Georgia Tech on the offensive line, not having Tate out there?
We didn't play perfect. We got the job done, but I don't think we played perfect by a stretch of imagination, any stretch of imagination, excuse me. I definitely think we did some good things, though. I think Mims had a big block down the field, got us hyped up. I think Micah Morris played a really exceptional game. Dillon Fairchild. Ernest Green is really coming on strong as the season goes along. I think he's going to be an amazing player throughout the course of his career. So I would just say I think guys had some really good splash plays, but ultimately I think we can go back to work and, kind of hone in on some of the things we maybe didn't do perfect.
Yeah, for a long time, Georgia struggled to beat Alabama in these big type of games. But last time you guys played them, you won this. You beat them while it wasn't an SEC championship game. What did that win sort of do for this program? And does that last matchup have sort of any bearing or give you guys any confidence going into this one?
I think at that time, I think it was more, I guess, just getting the monkey off your back or whatever that saying is, just for the simple fact of it felt like an accomplishment. And I can still remember in the locker room after Nick Chubb telling me, man, because I remember I went up to him and I was just thanking him for everything he did for the university. And I just remember him telling me, like, nah, man, thank you. I can finally sleep again. And that was one of the coolest moments I've had at Georgia, is just having a legend like that, come to me and, just be thankful for something that we had accomplished as a team. So that was a great moment. But I think in that moment it was just about, I guess, getting over that hump. But ultimately I don't think it does anything for us this weekend. Can't bring that into this game. It's not the same players for the most part. Really don't even have the same coordinators on both sides. So I think it's a totally different process, and I think it's an understanding that these are two of the best teams in the country, and this is usually around the time when every little mistake counts. Everything is much more magnified, and all of those things come back to haunt you. So it's just trying to be the best version of yourself at all times.
Got time for two more questions.
Said in regards to Dillon over here to your left, and Dillon and Micah, two guys who have been here a while, had to wait their turn a little bit. What's the biggest improvements both of those young guys have showed to this point?
That's a great question. I think both of them had an amazing camp. And honestly, not even just those two guys. I think Jared Wilson had an amazing camp. I think all three of those guys will do some great things for this university whenever their time comes, and you never know when that'll be. But I think for them two specifically, I think the biggest thing is just their level of maturity. I think that they grew up a lot this year, coming to film sessions, coming to after practice workout sessions where we're all just trying to get better. Just some of those little things, the extra, I guess, details that kind of go into making players great. I think those guys have really stepped it up and taken those things serious.
Sedrick, you guys a lot of times are referred to as like back-to-back national champions. I know you don't hear as much talk about that you guys won the SEC championship last year. In the big scheme of things, what does that mean to you to win an SEC championship?
It's really important. I think Coach Smart says it all the time. You know, he probably has as many SEC championships as he does national championships. So that just means that it's really hard to win, which is very true. I've been a part of losing one. I've been a part of winning one. And I know both feelings. And I also know where things kind of took a turn for good and for bad during those games. And God willing, hopefully I can kind of relate that message to the team this week. But ultimately, it's very important. I think it's an extreme honor to be able to go out there and represent this conference as the champion. And it's not something that we take lightly at all. It's something that we deeply want, something that we would like to be able to provide for the state of Georgia, and something that we take seriously.